The Chinese, when they came in 2.5 years ago, they denied us movement to GNR. One side, they had a troublesome border. The other side, they have troublesome maritime neighbors. China is gone way ahead militarily than most nations of the world.
Namaskar and Jai Hind. Welcome to Samvad, your go-to channel for geopolitics and international relations. Today we have with us Lt Gen Rakesh Sharma, former GoC 14 Corps, the corps which looks after Siachen, Kargil and Eastern Ladakh. And we are discussing the disengagement at Gogra-HotSprings and allied issues at the LAC. Welcome to Samvad, sir.
Thank you, Mayank. Thank you for inviting me.
To start off with, the first question, we are supposed to be, the Indian Army and the PLA are supposed to disengage by September 12 at the Gogra-HotSprings PP-15. It's been a long, more than two years standoff at the LAC. What is the strategic significance of this disengagement?
Okay, Mayank, it's a valid question. The fact is that PP-15 must not be taken as one singular point. If you start adding the entire line of actual control, and you start from North Karakoram Pass, Dorot Bay Goldi, Raki Nala, where you remember the previous incident happened at Y Junction, then Galwan, and now you come to PP-15. Galwan was PP-14, you come to PP-15. The PP-15, then you go to 16 and 17 alpha, which is Gogra. Now, it's a one chain, one line of the areas, and there is a high mountain range. That mountain range is crossable only through select places. You just can't go anywhere. Now, every one of these places, the Chinese were blocking us. So when we started negotiating initially, we cleared, Pegongso is even after PP-17, after Gogra. So we started clearing, many of these areas got buffer zones created, which is called temporary moratorium and patrolling, where the Chinese had and Indian forces decided, okay, at Raki Nala, the distance will be about 2.5, 3 kilometers. So bottleneck in north, they were there. West में they were, east they were there, west में हमारे. Similarly, it happened in Galwan. Similarly, it happened in Gogra, then Pegongso and Kailash range. This area of 17 alpha, PP-15, there is a Nala which takes off from Changchenmo River, which is near Hot Spring. And this Nala is called Kurang Nala. It goes to a pass. La bolte na pass ko, the pass. So it goes to a pass called Jianan Pass, Jianan La. Now, we used to patrol to Jianan La. The Chinese, when they came in 2.5 years ago, they denied us movement to Jianan La. The PP-15, we were being denied. So the discussion must have been, because see, the exact facts have not come out of what disengagement is going on. We are just analyzing the situation as was happening over the last 2 years. So I reckon that there is a buffer zone decided now in this area of PP-15, which is that pass, which is the high range, where 1 kilometer, 2 kilometers, 5 kilometers, depending on whatever they have decided. And now we have to see whether we are allowed to go to the pass or not allowed to go to the pass, or pass becomes a buffer zone. So the Chinese remain that side of the pass, we remain this side of the pass, and nobody is able to patrol it. So, I would say that if you start counting from north till Kailash range, instead of line of actual control, this is becoming like a belt of actual control. It is not one single line. Now there is a difference between forces being created. Why? Because the Chinese, the last 10, 12 years, we were having regular fisticuffs and jhagda and, gutham gutha, and the gutham gutha, the Chinese were not liking it. And they wanted to put the border at rest. So I think they brought about this change. And now PP-15 has been finally decided, means the entire area up to south of Pegongso has now got a a settlement of a kind where the patrols are not allowed to come in contact with each other. So it becomes, PP-15 was the last point in this line, which was problematic up to south of Pekong. We'll come to Demchok a little later. So, there is actually what Chinese have managed, wanting to do is they want us, deny us any movement from where you can go across to the Depsang plateau. So PP-15 was also a way that in 50s we used to take through this area, go to Depsang plateau, 50s mein. So now they have actually blocked us into this area and finished the movement across toward Depsang. So it was a last point of any access to Aksai-Chin or Depsang plateau. That is the significance of PP-15, or what we are calling Jianan law.
So I mean, sir, I was reading a couple of veterans after this report came in yesterday about the disengagement, and they were focusing more on Depsang and perhaps Demchok, and saying that this buffer zone is more on the Indian side and it is more to the advantage of the PLA, because the Depsang remains as it is and there's no change in the status quo as of now. So what is the strategic significance of Depsang and Demchok vis-a-vis this context of this whole, dispute over the LAC?
So the dispute of the LAC starts from the 19th century. And 19th century, when, there was the Johnson line. The Johnson was a governor, later on a governor of Ladakh. And he went on horseback and he decided, okay, the line would have been Kundun Range. Kundun Range made Aksai-Chin as part of India. But there were some British council journals who were located in Tibet and in China. One chap was MacDonald and McGregor. They said, no, it is not Kundun Range, it is Karakoram Range. So, the British never decided which is the boundary of that area. After independence, in 1953-54, we decided, okay, we will stand by what the governor of Ladakh had said that time, which is including the Aksai-Chin is part of us. Chinese made the road in the 50s there through Aksai-Chin. Now they were anxious that we are now deploying larger forces in this area. So they wanted to deny us. So now they have made a kind of a denial by a method of creating these buffer zones by which you now cannot patrol to the area of Depsang Plateau. It's a very significant change. But then, in many areas, the Chinese were coming into own side, like they were coming in Burse. Now, in this game, Chinese are also denied patrolling into some areas that they were coming earlier. Like they were coming to finger 3, finger 4. But we have denied them. Now they can't come to finger 4 because they can't. So, it is some gain, some loss in this deciding of buffers. But Depsang Plateau becomes now, till the time it is resolved, finally a border is resolved, it becomes Chinese. But Demchok is a separate issue altogether. You want me to cover Demchok?
Sure, sir.
Now, Demchok is about 700-800 kilometers away from this area. So Demchok is very far away. It is like from here to Benares. Itni dur hai wo. So, it's a separate area altogether. Demchok is the southernmost end. And, initially there used to be a road that used to run to Demchok and go to Mansarovar Lake. And we used to have some settlement insertions and all. Aajkal Mansarovar Lake ke liye we go via Uttarakhand or via Sikkim. But pehle, Demchok is the easiest way. You could drive to, in the same day, reach Mansarovar. Demchok has again, the line of actual control is a little problematic because we have decided as per what was decided in the British, but the Chinese have asked, no, that's not right. Chinese have a different line altogether. So in Demchok, we do a patrolling up to a pass called Chardingla. एक बहुत ऊंचा पास है 17,000 5,600 मीटर की हाइट पे है 17,000 कितने पे है it's a tough pass. We used to go from Demchok along the Demchok Nala, or which is also called Chardingla Nala, right up to Chardingla Pass. Chinese have, and it's a pedal ka patrol, on foot. But Chinese have made a road from the other side from journey toward Mansarovar side, and they come bring a vehicle directly to Chardingla Pass. Now they have denied us, and it is not today. This has been going on for a very long time. Every time they used to deny us every year, and every year we used to bypass them left, right, and go. Now they have blocked our movement to Chardingla Pass. So like PP15, जहाँ पे उन्होंने हमको इधर Gogra-HotSprings में PP15 deny कर दिया है कि neither you will patrol nor we will patrol. Probably it's happened. Now they have got a similar issue in Demchok. They have denied us patrolling to Chardingla, which is the problem situation here. How it will be resolved, I am not very sure. I think it is a tough call. It will require intensive negotiations to resolve this the problem in Chardingla Nala, जहाँ पे आजकल आमने सामने बैठे हैं, चुप से सिटिंग आमने सामने, so आमने सामने उन्होंने टेंट भी लगाए हुए, हम भी बैठे हैं वहाँ पे, so अलग कैसे होंगे ना? It will require negotiation. It is not, to my opinion, it's not a simple proposition to sort out Demchok.
So is this going to make us more vulnerable, or the disengagement as we are talking about? Is it going to make the whole situation more vulnerable for the Indian Army, or we can hope to see a bit of a relaxation on the eyeball to eyeball confrontation in the area?
So you're right. At places like, for example, in south of Kailash, we were eyeball to eyeball. We were tank to tank. Samne samne baithe the. So those things have changed now. Those things, the possibility of a clash, and a clash escalating to a limited war or a full war, has now been obviated. It is that problem is resolved here. That problem existed. Line of actual control at a time had become like line of control. Like Pakistan ke saath jana, it became less as well. But now with the buffers created, that possibility of escalation has finished. It will not escalate because troops will not come to contact. But the other part is that you can't say that the border is resolved. Border is not resolved. It is just that there is some disengagement, and then disengagement is, and I must add also that Chinese ke troops to wahi baithe hain. Their divisions are sitting opposite there. They have made habitat, they have made airfields have become bigger, they made blast pens in the airfields, they have made heliports, helipads, new roads being constructed. So the threat exists. Only thing that border mein Gutham Gutha is finished. So except at Demchok now.
So maybe the imminent threat has reduced, but the threat remains.
So, there is a trust deficit, as you know. Last 2-2.5 saal mein, there's trust deficit. This trust deficit means, we have to be cautious because he is not very far. He's 250 kilometers away from us, sitting with all tanks and all that. So you have to be cautious.
Sir, till the 16th Corps commander level meeting, I mean, what we were reading, there was nothing coming out. I mean, there was a stalemate. Now, suddenly, yesterday we were told that this was decided in the 16th Corps level meeting. Do you see any relationship between this disengagement and the upcoming Shanghai Cooperation Organization meeting in Samarkand on the 15th and 16th of September? Is there a relationship? Is there a political angle to it? Or do you feel, on the other hand, that the PLA has stretched itself too thin from Taiwan to Ladakh, and maybe they want a tactical retreat and regain strength?
To me, both these questions, the answer is no. I don't agree with this contention that you are raising now. Chinese think strategically. Everything is strategically. They come to a game plan. They have not come there just to occupy some spaces. पहले तो कभी ऐसे नहीं किया था. This is the first time they have done a thing like this. So since they have done a thing like this first time, they have come to a game plan, which is a strategic game plan. They want to make sure that the territorial border doesn't trouble them. So that now they can start thinking on maritime frontier and thinking about their great Chinese dream, rejuvenation of the continent, or rejuvenation. They have many cliches. They have many plans across. So one side, they had a troublesome border. The other side, they have troublesome maritime neighbors. South China Sea, Vietnam, Philippines, Indonesia, Japan, South Korea, Taiwan. So दोनों तरफ से they were boxed in. Now they have put this border at some kind of rest so they can concentrate the other side. That's my opinion of it. Now, you answer your question whether the SCO See, if President Xi Jinping, if it is all strategic in nature, and the CMC had decided this action should take place in 2020, and the chairman of the CMC is President Xi, and now PLA has decided after the 16th round only this much will happen, and Demchok is not happening, then I don't think this meeting in Samarkand has got anything to do with this issue. It is a strategic game plan, and meeting in the SCO can discuss an issue, but I don't think it is related to this. See, 16th meeting took place on, I think, 17th of July. It took 50 days on us to decide, or PP 15 mein buffer banega. 50 din, nearly 2 months it took. So, it is not a simple proposition, It is not that it is anywhere related to SEO. No, I don't think so. It is related to SEO at all. There are many issues to be discussed in SEO if they have a meeting. हमारे बच्चे जो students are supposed to go back to finish their degree courses in China, there is a $125, $130 billion trade which is going on, which is in Chinese favor. There are many issues to be discussed. This may come up as a point, but I don't think this was related to sorting this issue out. What is the second issue you raised?
Sir, about the tactical retreat. I mean, they are stretching out from Taiwan to Ladakh. They want a tactical retreat and strengthen themselves, perhaps.
Yeah, I don't think so. See, what they did in Taiwan, it was a coercive military action. They did not come for a war there. Total, they fired 14 missiles, of which 5 missiles were fired over Taiwan, across the island. Rest were fired in the seas across there. Now, if you see that, and they did not get any boats or the flotilla or the ships there. Finally, it is an amphibious operation. Somebody has to go from Chinese mainland to the other islands. Nothing of this sort happened. So actually speaking, my opinion, it was only coercion against Taiwan. And then the coercive forces of, Eastern Command. It is actually dealt by Eastern Command for there. We have Western Theatre Command. They have actually delineated forces. And they have substantial forces. China is gone way ahead militarily than most nations of the world. To say that it is stretching itself, I don't think so. I mean, my personal opinion is that they can handle Taiwan. They don't have to escalate issues across into India. They have to make sure the issues against India don't get escalated, but the issue against Taiwan is the biggest problem that they have. Now, whether they want to fight a war or they want to just peaceful reunification, as they say, that's their business. It's not an easy proposition. Wars are messy affairs. Yeah, Mayank, you notice what's happening in Ukraine. It is so messy. So, you can't guarantee you start a war tomorrow, it will happen the way you want it. Things can go wrong. So it's not an easy way to say, and he will not stretch himself in that manner, as you're saying.
Sir, a final question. The dual-use villages, mostly in the eastern sector of India, how big a threat are they to Indian security? And what is India to counter them? And what can India do to counter these villages?
Okay, so there's 624 villages or something, which are, the photographs are now available on satellite. I have also seen photographs there. These villages are, say, 100 houses put together in very proximity to the border. They have 5G, they have road connection, they have full infrastructure built up, and they will in time push people, Han population and Tibetans, push into these areas and villages will be occupied. What is he doing? Also he's making military infrastructure. We must not forget that the dual-use military infrastructure is being built all along the front, Xinjiang and in Tibet, and the forces are being retained there. Now, the villages give me an impression that they are resettling the border. So they have mentally decided, okay, this is where we want to retain it, and this will become inhabited areas. So they will gradually grow in times to come, and these becomes their permanent settlements across the border. So he has changed the character of the border by what he has done in the infrastructure, by these buffers he's created, and the villages. So you mix all of these together, then he's changing the character of the entire line of actual control. That's my opinion about it. There is also, 2005 treaty signed when Prime Minister Manmohan Singh was there, which said that the inhabited areas will not be discussed. So the populated areas came back as part of that treaty. So which says that, if this populated area, it is ours. I mean, you can't discuss it. We were very happy that time. We said, okay, Arunachal Pradesh is a inhabited area, populated area, hamari population hai, hamare log hai. So he actually willy-nilly saying, I will add here, it suits the PLA or the Chinese to keep the geostrategic pressure on us. So don't settle the border. Don't settle the border. Keep the troops there. Keep making infrastructure. Make the villages there. Keep the pressure on India. But don't settle it. Don't start a war. He probably doesn't want a war today. He's not ready for it. And he knows wars are messy affairs. He doesn't know what will happen in a war. But he has done a gambit of trying to put the whole border at some kind of a rest so that he can focus towards his Chinese dream and Chinese rejuvenation, etc. What we can do? Well, I think that's a very difficult question, and we have to start thinking on these issues. I think we can start considering whether we want to do some prospecting. There are mineral resources here. There are many other things. Can we do some kind of rehabilitation of our people into areas closer to the borders? I'm sure the government is considering these issues in serious manner. Ladakh, in central sector, Uttarakhand border, where the villages have reduced quite a bit. Arunachal Pradesh, there is already existing. So there has to be a corresponding demographic change that we have to bring across onto our borders. That will take some kind of a serious work on our part.
On that note, I would like to thank you, sir, for your time and the information you have shared with us. It has been invaluable. And thank you again, and hope to see you very soon on Samvad again. Thank you so much, sir. Jai Hind. Namaskar.
Thank you, Mayank. Thank you, Mayank. Thank you for inviting. Bye-bye. Namaskar.